Are you tired, truly exhausted, of the same old playoff narratives for the Toronto Maple Leafs? Are you screaming at your screens, wondering when this team will finally break free from its shackles and become the true contender we all know it can be? Because if you're a Leafs fan, you know the feeling. That gnawing frustration, that desperate hope for a change, a real change, that can finally push this team over the top. Well, buckle up, because the winds of change are blowing, and a bold new trade proposal has emerged that could finally give the Maple Leafs the piece they've been desperately searching for to replace a certain star forward. For what feels like an eternity, the Toronto Maple Leafs have been on a relentless hunt, a hunt for that elusive top six forward, a player who can step into the void left by, well, let's just say, the production that could be missing if certain offseason moves come to fruition. The whispers have grown into shouts, and now, a name has emerged from the Steel City that could be the answer to Toronto's prayers. Bryan Rust of the Pittsburgh Penguins. Rust is a new name on the trade block. The Penguins, after their own internal shakeups, held a fire sale at the last trade deadline, but couldn't find a suitor willing to meet their price for the veteran winger. But this summer, the landscape has shifted. The fourth period, a highly respected source for NHL trade insights, has included Rust prominently on its summer trade list, specifically linking the 33-year-old to the Maple Leafs, among other interested parties. And make no mistake, the asking price for Rust is reportedly high. He's a player with no trade protection, coming off a fantastic 30-goal season, making him an incredibly desirable asset for any team looking for a proven scorer. So, what could this tantalizing trade proposal look like? Let's break down the pieces of this potential blockbuster. Here's the deal that's got the hockey world buzzing. The Toronto Maple Leafs would acquire Bryan Rust, a proven top six forward with a knack for finding the back of the net. In return, the Pittsburgh Penguins would receive a package of three useful pieces: Calle Jarnkrok, David Kampf, and young defenseman Henry Thrun. Let's dissect this. For the Penguins, they're not just getting spare parts, they're getting assets. Calle Jarnkrok, by far the most impactful player in this return package, is a versatile forward who can play up and down the lineup. He could immediately step into Rust's vacated top six role, if needed, providing reliable two-way play and a veteran presence. He's the kind of player every coach loves to have for his flexibility and commitment. Then there's David Kampf. Let's be honest, Kampf is a bit of a throw-in here, a depth piece who has lost his regular lineup spot in Toronto. But for Pittsburgh, he adds valuable depth to their center core, primarily as a defensive forward. While his offensive upside is extremely limited, his penalty-killing ability and face-off prowess could still make him a useful addition to their bottom six. But perhaps the most intriguing piece of the Penguins, the one that could truly pay dividends down the line, is Henry Thrun. The Maple Leafs acquired Thrun in a Ryan Reaves deal, and while he was seen as a potential depth defenseman for Toronto, he could get a real opportunity to develop and play significant minutes in Pittsburgh. He's a young, mobile defenseman with good puck-moving skills, and a change of scenery could unlock his full potential. This isn't just a salary dump for Pittsburgh. It's a strategic move to acquire versatile veterans and a promising young defenseman who could become a core piece or a valuable trade chip themselves. So, why does this trade make compelling sense for both the Penguins and, crucially, the Toronto Maple Leafs? Let's start with the Leafs, because for them, this isn't just about adding a player. It's about solving multiple roster dilemmas. First and foremost, they get a legitimate top six forward in Bryan Rust, a player who can immediately step in and help replace the high-end offensive production that could be departing with Mitch Marner. While Rust might not hit 100 points, his consistent 30-goal potential is a massive boost for a team that desperately needs more reliable scoring depth outside of its core. Secondly, and this is a critical point for Toronto's cap management, this trade allows the Maple Leafs to clear out some of that infamous logjam in their bottom six. For too long, the Leafs have had too many high-priced depth forwards, creating a roster imbalance and limiting their financial flexibility. Shipping off Jarnkrok and Kampf not only helps open up crucial roster spots for younger, cheaper talent, but also gives the team additional cap space to make other necessary moves this summer. It's a strategic move that addresses both on-ice needs and salary cap constraints. For the Pittsburgh Penguins, this trade is all about asset management and future flexibility. They acquire useful assets in Jarnkrok, Kampf and Thrun, players who can step into their lineup this fall and contribute immediately. But here's the genius of it. The Penguins are known for their shrewd asset management, and they're not just acquiring these players to keep them long-term. Most importantly, the Pens are recouping assets that could be flipped at the trade deadline. Jarnkrok and Thrun, in particular, could become highly valuable depth pieces for contending teams, especially if they have strong, healthy seasons in Pittsburgh. This allows the Penguins to essentially reload their trade capital, turning one valuable asset into multiple pieces they can later use to acquire draft picks or prospects, continuing their rebuild or retooling efforts. It's a smart, forward-thinking move for a franchise looking to maximize its returns. Now, for the elephant in the room, the asking price for Bryan Rust. Reports suggest that the price is high, and while high can be a vague term in the world of NHL trades, one can reasonably infer it means the Penguins are looking for a significant return, potentially as high as a first-round draft pick. This is where things get complicated for the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Leafs, as many of you know, don't have a first-round pick until 2028. That's a long way off, and it severely limits their ability to offer the kind of high-end draft capital that Pittsburgh might covet. Furthermore, the Leafs, despite their talent at the top, lack the sort of high-end prospects that the Penguins will be genuinely eager to acquire in a deal for a player of Rust's caliber. They simply don't have the blue-chip prospects that other teams might offer. So, the proposed trade package, veterans like Jarnkrok and Kampf, along with promising but unproven defensemen in Thrun, becomes the next best thing. It might seem underwhelming at first glance compared to a first-round pick or an elite prospect, but the potential for an even greater return for the Penguins is there. As long as the players in the trade package stay healthy and have productive seasons in Pittsburgh, the Penguins could absolutely flip them for a substantial gain, especially at next spring's trade deadline. It's a calculated risk for Toronto, betting that the immediate impact of Rust outweighs the long-term cost of their future assets, and a clever play for Pittsburgh to turn one valuable piece into multiple future opportunities. What do you think of this bold trade proposal? Is Bryan Rust the missing piece the Toronto Maple Leafs desperately need to finally break through? Or is the asking price too high? And are the assets they give up too valuable for a team looking to build for sustained success? We want to hear your thoughts. Hit that like button if you found this breakdown insightful, and drop a comment below with your predictions. Do you make this trade if you're the Leafs? And what about the Penguins? Is this the right move for their retooling efforts? Your engagement fuels our discussions, and we love diving into these debates with you. Until next time, keep it locked right here for all the latest, most exclusive insights into the world of hockey.